Like, he tries fighting hand to hand and it ain't working, so he just throws a chokehold on her and...
You get a dude falling out of a building. Well, what's gonna happen? I actually appreciate that they held off. This was the good like cliffhanger. Like, I just want to know.
This was a very fitting ending for his character.
Have you ever seen Harold and Kumar go to White Castle?
Hello, all of you wonderful people out there in podcast land. Welcome to another episode of Black and White Reviews. My name is Will.
My name is Lee.
And my name is John.
Why the long exhale or inhale for that?
It's dramatic effect.
Dramatic effect.
It's just, and my name is Chuck.
And with that being said, we are here to talk about Titans Season 2, Episode 5, titled Deathstroke.
Ooh, the stroke of death.
Okay. All right. Who wants to start?
This episode.
Oh, you
I
okay?
go
This
first.
is actually one of the top-rated episodes of the series.
Ooh.
Yeah, I pulled it up on IMDb, and right off the bat, it's like top-rated. I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Nice.
valid, because it is like this episode and the next one are both very top-rated. And
Okay.
I remember really enjoying them.
I really enjoyed this episode a lot.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It was fun. It was exciting. It was crazy. You were absolutely right, Lee. I've been listening to all of our other podcasts on this leading up to this point and just trying to remember a conversation that we had. And you're like, yeah, I think the way that Dr. Light goes is just not existent. And it's like, yeah, it was not existent. Like, nothing happened.
No.
It was, like you guys kept asking, and I'm just like, ugh, this hurts. Because it's such a slap in the face. It's
Oh, no, not for me.
It
This
was
was a very fitting ending for his character. Just
True. But then,
Yeah, he's
a
finally
nothing
just
death.
tired of it. He's
Goodbye.
like, whatever, you're done.
Right. But then even Will, for the last two episodes, like, he's been like, yeah, the way that this relationship is between Dr. Light and Deathstroke, they're going to just blow up at some point. And then it did. And it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I love that Dr. Light is such an idiot that even tied up, Jason Todd, like, knocked him out. It was fantastic. It was awesome. This episode was amazing.
I agree.
I loved it.
I agree. I did too. There's one issue that I have. I'll talk about that later. But for right now, Dr. Light and his whole ending, yes, it was a nothing death, a throwaway thing, perfect for that character. I find it hysterical that he gets into that truck and to amp himself up, he throws on Nickelback. That is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Like, this guy's older than us. You would think he would throw on like some Maiden or some like anything like heavy from the 80s to like amp yourself up to. No. It has to be Nickelback. The most commercial nothing band ever. I'm not the biggest fan of Nickelback, but I mean, just like the most generic commercial successful band, like the poster child for.
I'm going to bring up the whole. You're ripping on Nickelback. I had to look up a few years ago. Why does everybody hate Nickelback? The only reason people hate Nickelback is they came out, and when they came out, their first song was like huge, and then people just loved them suddenly. And everyone else is like, we've been doing this for years, and suddenly you exist and take the cake. Like, that's messed up, and that's why people hate them.
Well, that Creed.
Same with well, yeah.
Right. But this reminded me of that whole scene reminded me. Have you ever seen Harold and Kumar go to White Castle? When there's these guys that are chasing, like, everything's extreme.
Yeah.
And then they have their tape.
Yeah.
And they steal the car and they put the extreme
Hold
tape.
on for one more day.
Now I'm okay. Hold on. Now I'm even more confused.
For one more day.
Now I'm even more confused by you. Harold and Kumar was an all-right movie. It was still a pot-spoken movie, but it was still an all-right movie. How do you not like Pineapple Express? It still blows my mind. You liked Harold and Kumar, but you didn't like Pineapple Express.
Because Harold and Kumar was a pot-spoken movie, and it did exactly what pot-spoken people did.
So does Pineapple if they were in that position. And that's what makes it funny. Because could you imagine having smoked before?
They rode. Hang on.
Like
they rode a cheetah in.
First of all, they found a cheetah
Yes.
And then rode it.
in Jersey. Was
Yes.
it New Jersey?
But
Pretty
then they
much,
got the cheetah
yeah.
high. They got the cheetah high first. That was the only way that they could ride him. Was they got
And
it
then
high.
Neil Patrick Harris shows up and make some love stains in the back of their car.
which is disturbing. But here's the thing: is the whole point of Harold and Kumar was, I'm high, I have the munchies, I want to eat something, I want to go to White Castle. All of this crappy stuff happens to get to that point that is ridiculous and would never happen. It's stupid.
What Pineapple Express did was take that 5 steps further, but it's
Yes.
the exact same thing.
Yes.
It's the exact same thing, but 5 steps further.
Their goal was never, I want to get high and then I have the munchies, I want food. No, their goal was, I want to get high. And all of this crap is happening, but I still want to get high. But all this crap is happening, but guess what? I still want to get high.
Yeah.
But guess what? I just want to get high. There was no, I got high, and then at the end of it, because Harold and Kumar hit on what every pothead does. I get high, I have the munchies. That makes sense. And they made this stupid, ridiculous, non-existent, not realistic story happen because of that. With Pineapple Express, it's, I'm high. Stupid stuff happens. I just want to get high because stupid stuff happens. And that's it. And it's stupid. They get high at the beginning of Harold and Kumar and then never again.
We are. We are.
My room is still messed up.
Until I got high.
Because I got high. Because I got high.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Okay, so I don't wanna argue about Pineapple Express anymore. But what I do want to do is the way that Dr. Light goes out in this is fabulous, and the fact that he's amping himself out with Nickelback is just even more ridiculous, and it just makes the whole situation really, really funny. Like, I did not like, I just laughed. That's all I could do was laugh at the ridiculous way that this character was killed. Fabulous. All right, we're moving on. Everything else about this particular episode I did really enjoy. I want to pick on one thing, though, and it's my one complaint that I have with this. All three of us have talked about it. All three of us are kind of on the same page with some of the decisions in, like, the linear storytelling that we're doing, or just like the placement of certain things. So the finale in season 1, the premiere in season 2, it doesn't work for a variety of reasons. I feel like they should be doing things in a particular order. I wanted the conclusion to whatever Dick was going on with the deaf kid. That way that this 3-way fight would be way more impactful. There should be an emotional weight there because there's something that happened and we don't have the full picture yet.
I will tell you that having seen this whole season, I actually appreciate that they held off. This was the good like cliffhanger. Like, I just want to know. I agree with you. Like, what's the deal here? What's going on? Why can't you just tell us? They do a good job filling it in. They actually spend like 3 episodes doing it. Like,
I'm fine with that.
2 episodes ago. But I said that 2 episodes. I said they did the same thing with Jason Todd. They took Jason Todd. They had and I said this. They're probably going to have an episode where he's not involved, and then the next episode will be them trying to rescue Jason Todd, which is exactly what happened.
I think
2 episodes ago, Jason Todd was taken at the end of the episode. Cliffhanger.
I understand that.
Back in time, and now they're doing the same thing again.
I understand that. I still say you should have continued telling that story of the past before you gave us this, because this moment between the 3 of them when they're having that 3-way dance, the choreography and the fight is actually, like, I would put this on level with what they did in Civil War. The reason why what happened in Civil War is better is because you have all that emotional weight of those 3 characters behind it. You understand all of their motivations. I want to understand Deathstroke's in this so that I can have some of that. Like right now, because a lot of what he said in this episode, he's not wrong. Like, Dick Grayson is kind of irresponsible with the way he's throwing around all these costumes and, like, bringing these people onto his side. And there's little to no reason why he should be doing it. And Deathstroke is 100% right. He actually has a line that I loved in this episode. Grayson gives costumes to foolish kids, making them believe they're heroes, leading them like lambs to slaughter, which was brilliant. Brilliantly said by Deathstroke in this episode. I just wish you got a little bit more backstory with Deathstroke, his son, everything that happened with Dick Grayson. I know where they're going with it. I just wish it was on screen before this fight. If it was there, the fight would have been more emotional. It would have been a bigger emotional gut punch for me. That's.
I'll say this: we've talked about the antagonist in a show or a movie being relatable,
yes,
and you understanding like that makes sense.
Yes.
The reason why he had that line and is saying things that are very valid here is to get you to kind of see it that way, but then it gets like toppled over later on once you get the full story, and that's what they're kind of going at. So I understand what you're saying, but this is the moment when I think I told you guys, because this is where I was at when I first brought up to you guys. Oh, I've been watching it this whole time. It was right around this episode and the next two. Specifically, like these are the 3 episodes I remember the most, and I thought they were fantastic, even more than the original season. Like these are the 3 that really stuck out to me, and I won't forget. The ending is kind of like, whoa, well, that was interesting.
Great, perfect.
But these, it wasn't bad. No, it was good. It was just like I didn't see it going the way they did have it go. But these 3 here are when I said, you know what? I was really mad at first about how they do this whole thing where they tell you something, and then the next episode has nothing to do with where they just left you, and then they come back to it. But the way they do it here in this episode, the next episode, and the episode after, I forgave it after seeing that second episode all the way through and saying, you know what? I saw it coming. Like you can see how it's all going to tie in.
I see it coming.
Absolutely. You know exactly how it's going to tie in and how it's going to make sense. You get a dude falling out of a building. Well, what's going to happen?
Okay, that's something else that I want to talk about, because did either one of you watch the previously on for this episode specifically?
Yeah, but
yeah. Okay, so they go back to season 1.
Flying Graysons?
No, they go back to season 1 when they're in the car and they're talking about the tracker that's in both of their embedded in both of their skin. Like they do that, and then you get this episode and he's falling out of a window. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be rescued. I just really hope it's not any Batman nonsense, but I kind of feel like it's absolutely going to be. Like it has to be. Like that cape is going to turn into like a glider or something like that, and he's going to be rescued. Why? Because Batman has him chipped, and they just told me in the previously on here, he has us chipped so he can have our back. Like, oh, come on.
His chip was removed.
It was removed. It was cut out of him.
Jason's?
It was cut out of him by Deathstroke.
He was
he had his headphones on, and he was blindfolded.
And
he cut it out of his
Deathstroke took a knife to his leg, cut it out.
Yeah.
He searched for it.
Yep.
Cut it out, and the reason why Dick and everybody else found Dr. Light was because he put the tracker in Dr. Light.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's
you're
what
right.
happened here.
You're
now,
right.
But I will say this: as soon as the next episode starts, you will start to like, oh, I see where we're going here, and it's okay. I'll just say that, like, without trying to speculate, or give you anything. It's like super obvious right off the bat. Like, okay, and then it happens, and you feel all warm and fuzzy because you are right. You know, that's just kind of what happens in this. But again, I still love these 3 episodes because of the way they went.
I will say that. I agree with you. I think this is the best storyline that the show has brought by far up until this point. Again, that's me saying
Trigon
I haven't.
Was stupid.
It was so dumb.
Trigon was dumb.
This Deathstroke storyline is fantastic.
Deathstroke has always been an amazing character.
Yes.
Deathstroke's character has always been awesome.
Right.
You know, it's always been very formidable to Batman and Batman characters because of his just like ridiculousness. The way that he plots and he plans, and he doesn't just go at you. Like he's an assassin and just like shoots people from afar, but he's like a genius, an absolute genius, and won't just sit there and do that. And he's always been portrayed that way. I think it's fantastic. So
he's almost like the Lex Luthor to Batman. Like Lex is to Superman.
It's hard to say because Lex Luthor is clearly like Superman's like direct nemesis, where the Joker is Batman's direct nemesis. But so I can't see
when I say that, like, he's smart and he's thinking 4 steps ahead.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Lex isn't just.
Which Lex are we talking about?
Historically, Lex is not just thinking 2 steps ahead. Lex is a mile ahead when he actually thinks and plots things out. Lex is the super genius, like the anomaly. I don't get that from Deathstroke. He's just incredibly formidable. Like that's what makes Deathstroke amazing. When I say those words, I'm not really talking about Deathstroke's intelligence. I'm more talking about just like he's a fantastic fighter.
Well, when
And
I
it's-
say that is he planned everything. Like
He's
he pla-
strategic.
Yes.
he's planning ahead, way ahead, like to separate them, to bring the quote unquote weakest link into him and to draw him out.
Mhm.
Did all of that.
Yes, he did.
Everything that he is planning has worked.
Absolutely.
And he also had backup plans that fell into a certain path where it's like, yeah, well, here's how we're going to do it, because he already had that planned out.
Right.
If it gets to this
And
point, here's
that's
how we're going to roll
that's
with it.
the strategy thinking that Lex Luthor has with Superman stuff.
So what's really, really cool is the only other character I've seen that's been so far ahead of others and has like really like killed it is Grand Admiral Thrawn. And these are stories that were brought up in the early to mid 90s. Grand Admiral Thrawn, his whole thing was he knew how his enemies are, the good guys, were gonna fight because he studied their art. It was actually a really cool thing. Like he would study the culture of these people in order to understand their strategies and how they would think. Knowing how they think when it comes to art would know how they think when it comes down to battle strategy.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, like no one ever thinks about that. Grand Admiral Thrawn's the only person who like appreciates it and notices like the brush strokes in a certain way and says, because of this, it's really pretty awesome. And the way that Deathstroke is portrayed in this and some other things is also like that. Like, here's how they're going to react.
Right.
I've dealt with them before. I've been this way. Here's how I'm going to be strategic about it. The difference, comes down to, without me saying much, what happens here in the end. But I don't know. I've always appreciated Deathstroke's character. So I love seeing different iterations of Deathstroke.
With the different iterations, they're not far off from each other.
No,
They're all
not at
very
all.
similar.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's the Arrow one where Mirakuru is involved or whatever, and that's
But Deathstroke is still Deathstroke.
Deathstroke is still Deathstroke, and he did receive some type of powers from his from the military experiments and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
But I mean, I think overall, this was just a fun episode to watch.
Yeah,
Like,
especially
it was just-
especially the way that it ended. I really liked before that too when Rose is trying to leave and Rachel gets all up in her face. I know I said this a couple of episodes ago. I'll say it again here. I don't like that we're still doing the Rachel can't control her powers thing. It feels like they're just treading old ground now. Like they did it a lot last season. They're doing it again now. Like I think you could hurry that plot up a little bit. I'm not gonna outright complain about it, but it is something that, okay. But I really like when she threw Rose like against the wall and her whole body cracked, and then you get the animation of her body healing, like, and you hear every little crack. Oh, that was
insane.
I love that. I thought
That
that
part
was
was
really cool.
That was really, really cool. I like the
Yeah.
fact that Rose tried fighting Grayson first, right?
Hawk
Hawk, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hawk basically
Grayson's
just owns her.
choked her.
Oh yeah.
She's
Well,
getting
she
owned by
doesn't.
everybody.
She doesn't. He had a choker. Like he tries fighting hand to hand and it ain't working, so he just throws a chokehold on her, and like that's how
Well,
he
it
gets the
ain't
upper
working
hand.
because he's not trying to actually fight back.
No, he's just trying to like detain her.
He just wants to
Yeah.
stop her from hitting.
Yeah.
If he actually tried to fight back, it wouldn't even be an.
And he said that until Dawn came over there and distracted him, and then she got the best of him.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, I found that Nickelback song.
We got no fear, no
Oh man, so bad,
They are
so bad.
they are so they are so generic.
Well, that was the thing. Like they had that one first song, and it's like everything has to sound like this, and then they tried to go like off in a different direction, like somewhat, and like say things that were like, "Oh, that's not what I expected you to say."
And that, what
And,
if you
you know-
remind me? Is that the name of that song?
How You Remind Me.
How You
That was
Remind
the
Me?
first one.
That's a 20-year-old song.
And then they had that song from Spider-Man, remember, with him and the dude from Slipknot, Hero.
Corey.
They say that a hero can save us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like.
I think
Slipknot
what
dude,
really
not-
blew I think
not-
what really blew my mind about those things is like Corey from Slipknot has an amazing singing voice when he's not
He
like
does.
belting into a microphone. He has a fantastic
Right.
voice.
Yeah. Somebody threw Slipknot on in the warehouse like a few days ago. I'm just like, I forgot. Like he's not a bad singer.
He's
You
not
can
at
hear
all.
it in the
He's
Slipknot stuff.
not.
And you're like, wow, just too bad. Just way too bad.
Well,
Right,
he has
imagine him if he's saying for Nickelback, then there we go.
no,
Right?
still no, still no. The musicians are like
Too generic.
they're a power chord band, and that's it. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's it. But whatever works for them. Whatever works for them. I don't know. Oh well. Anyways,
I don't know music that well, so
yeah. If there's one thing that I'm more anal about other than movies, it's probably music. Like, music is my center. Like, it's a big part of my life. Music is a massive part of my life. And
Absolutely.
Nickelback is just one of those bands. It's just like, ugh, why? Why? Anyways, what else are we talking about the show? I mean, we gushed about it. I complained about it a little bit. I mean, where else is there to go? Corey shows up and she tries to give Rachel this bracelet to suppress her powers until she learns how to use them.
does she try to give it to her, or does she just talk about it with her?
I don't remember her giving her a bracelet. I remember talking about it.
They were talking about it. I think she was going to give it to her, but then things happened and distraction, and we gotta go.
I don't remember that being a big deal. I think it just came down to Corey explaining that she was super powerful, and Raven here's just like her.
That's the thing is, she's like, but I can't control it,
Right.
and yeah, it's not good. That's, I don't know. When it comes to Rachel and Raven versus what Corey was dealing with, I think it's two very different things.
It is, but that's the whole thing that we're still getting is we still don't understand Rachel.
Which is
we thought we did. We thought we did when we got this like weird ending that was actually the beginning, but it was an ending. And then we're like, wait, we still don't know.
we are in the fifth episode of the second season, and Rachel is still an enigma.
Yep.
I think that's.
I'll tell you this: she's still an enigma in the third season.
Fantastic.
Okay?
That makes
Right?
me even more upset.
So just be like, whatever. I feel like we're not gonna know who and what she is until like the last episode of the series. We're like, oh, cool, end, never coming back. Got it. Like that's just. It seems like that's where they're going here.
But I did like the way they portrayed the black stuff that comes out of her,
absolutely.
though.
That was
How they were-
fantastic.
They were wings this time. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just waiting for, because they were doing it in the first season and they're not doing it in the second season. And I think it's a mistake where you did get glimpses of events from Raven's perspective, from the mirror or whatnot. Like, you got a glimpse of that, and it was just somebody who was very angry, and they completely dropped that storyline, and it's gone. Why?
Well,
Because her heart has been removed and the stone was replaced with it.
that can't be. That
they're
can't
getting
be
at the
the
point
answer.
that something new is going on. Their powers are still the powers per se, but something new is happening within her, and that's what we're led to kind of stick with.
Something new. You say something new. What's different aside from a little bit of purple hue that's thrown in with the black sludge? Because the black sludge was the same in the barn in the first season when they went all first class, test out your powers thing, and it's the same black sludge now, only this time there's a little purple to it. Like, that's the only difference.
Because this is the difference is in season 1 there was the personality conflict of who is this, what is this, it's evil, it's bad. I'm fighting it inside of me.
Right. Now she's saying, who am I?
Right. Now it's part of her.
Yeah.
The two personalities have now melded together as one.
Right.
And she's going, who am I?
Right. Who am I now?
What?
That's what it is.
There's a dark side of me that I can't control.
As opposed to something else that's trying to get in.
Something that was trying to
come
get
out.
in. And that's right.
When
her heart was removed and she was replaced with the stone, it brought everything, it connected everything inside of her aligned, quote unquote, and now she's trying to figure out who she is. Even in the cartoon she still questions a lot of stuff.
I never watched the cartoon Teen Titans.
She's super emo in the cartoon.
That I know.
Super emo in the cartoon.
She's I'm not feeling her character this time around.
It's all right. There's so
It's
many
just
other characters
Yeah,
involved.
exactly. There's so many other characters that I can choose from that it really doesn't matter anymore. But it's just
Right.
unfortunate because I do think she was like the best part of the first season, like
Well,
easily.
yeah, she was the main focus of the first season. Like they were introducing all the other characters, but she
Yes.
was the main storyline.
Yes.
Right.
Now that she's not, she's a side character that is the side story, like a side story in this whole season. And I'll tell you, nothing much comes out of it. So don't
That's
get your hopes up about
That's
seeing an answer.
fantastic.
But the thing is, you've also been saying, when are we going to see Nightwing? You know, when's this going to happen? You know, there's a lot of stuff that's up in the air, and it's funny. 'Cause, like there were some parts where I thought you were talking about something that happened, then I realized you weren't talking about this. It's actually in a few episodes. So I'm really glad I didn't overindulge in a certain conversation when we were talking about Gar at one point. But we'll get there.
So we had this conversation back in season 1 when you weren't a part of it yet. I realized that his name was Gar.
Yeah, Garfield. I heard. I know. Yeah, it's Garfield. They say it at one point, and it's not a joke. It actually is his name. Just Gar's his
He's
nickname.
credited as Gar on.
Right.
No, the
Yeah,
the mad
right.
scientist says his name in that episode. Doom Patrol.
Yes. Yeah, and as you said at one point, like, oh, that might have been just like a joke because he's a cat.
That's what I
No,
thought.
not at all. No, when they're in the episode Doom Patrol, when the mad scientist is confronting Gar about bringing somebody new into the house. Are you lying to me, Garfield? Like he keeps saying his full name over and over and over again. It's very much not a joke.
Yeah.
I was the one taking it as that.
Yeah.
Because
No, I
Gar
remember.
in Asylum calls him that.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like
I
he's a
looked it
little
up.
bit. I kind of feel like he's a joke now. Like he went from like the first season, he went from being like very outgoing, very want to get up and do, very want to get involved. Now he's like,
excited.
I don't know if I want to eavesdrop on this conversation, guys. This doesn't feel right. Like what happened to you?
Well, as soon as he was brought in and realized that there was Robin and like the Titans were all there, that's when he fanboyed out and started saying, I'm in over my head. Because the reality is, what's he gonna do? Turn to a cat and scare people? What if like he comes face to face where he has to that cat doesn't scare people anymore and he actually has to do something?
And that's the thing. That's another part of my issue with him right now is the last. What was it? The premiere or the season finale, whichever one it was, he turned into a snake, so he can be more than just a cat. Like there's more that you could do with this character.
Oh, and we know that he's called Beast Boy, not Cat Boy.
Yes.
You know, we know that he's going to get to that soon, or at some point. But I'll tell you, it doesn't happen.
Fine.
It doesn't happen until
Perfectly fine.
after at least season 3, episode 3. So it's like maybe after that it does. But I'll just say the characters do develop.
Oh, you're starting to see that.
You are seeing that. It's just, I'm really looking more forward to the next episode because it fills in a lot of gaps, and it's like it's leading into something that I know Chuck's going to be super pumped about. And you know,
I saw the thumbnail for the next episode.
Oh, okay. So then you're
and
getting
you
it.
see
Connor. The episode's called Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's obviously Anyway, when I watched this, I didn't look at IMDb at all. I just watched the next one and watched the next one. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
I'm not watching IMDb. It's just the thumbnail on Max just shows a picture.
Oh, of course.
And I'm like,
it's actually really cool. It's really
one of the
cool.
characters that we were afraid that shouldn't be coming into this.
Honestly, I think it's really cool, and it's good. I really enjoy it because there's a lot more to it than you think.
Cool.
And it makes the character awesome. Again, I never watched any of the other stuff that's involved with Titans. I don't know much about these characters except, you know, some of them are sidekicks and most of them aren't. I don't know. Like it's just I like where they go with him, and I like what they're doing with him.
Sidekick.
So anyway, like I was really hoping we would talk about this last week so we could talk about Connor this week. But whatever, we'll deal with it.
We were both tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk about something to kind of go off track. HBO Max has a new series out.
Max,
Whatever.
Max, HBO. Listen,
HBO
I spent the last 37 years of my life calling it HBO. I'm not gonna change the way that I say it. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not.
HBO has a new series out. It's on Max, and it's called Gotham Knights.
It's not new. It's already canceled.
What?
We talked about this.
No, we did not.
Yes, we did.
When?
I'm pretty sure it was like 2 episodes ago. We talked about it. Gotham Knights. I read the
I
synopsis
think you did.
and everything.
I think you did
Yeah.
bring this
I
up a
don't
couple of
remember.
episodes
Yeah,
ago,
recorded.
Chuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't I remember?
It's
that
about like
conversation?
it's like Bruce Wayne's son or something or whatever. Everybody's dead.
His
Everybody
dead
else is gone.
adopted
Yeah,
son,
yeah, yeah.
Bruce Wayne dies.
Yeah. And it's and it's over. Like they had like 1 or 2 seasons and it's gone. It's done. Yep. Not coming back. I also heard the MCU is like almost dead too. So
Almost dead.
well, like dead. Like they're not even gonna bother. Not like they're going down, but like they're down.
Yeah, they didn't have a healthy. Their last couple of quarters weren't great.
Nope.
They've lost. They're still up year over year, but they've lost some.
They should have just stopped at Endgame and called it a day.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say I think it was our friends over at the Keep Up podcast. They
Mm.
said it was the longest running. It was the most expensive TV show ever. And Endgame was the finale of it. That's a
Right.
great way of
Yeah.
making out the Infinity, like 13 years of just watching all of this stuff and a finale like that. They should have just stopped at that point.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm
then maybe
reading.
just
I'm
done one-off
But the
movies.
Spider-Man movies were so good.
I'm reading
But
some of the
Sony could still
synopsis
do that.
here. I'm reading some of the synopsis here for Gotham Knights, and no wonder why it was canceled. So Bruce Wayne is dead.
Yep.
His son Turner is looking into it, and he's gonna do something, and he's
Yep.
working alongside with attorney Harvey Dent.
Right.
How are you going to have Harvey Dent on a show, not Two-Face, and a dead Bruce Wayne?
Well,
You're immediately robbing whatever audience this is attracting. You're immediately robbing them of something that they probably desperately want to see.
Well, they did that in this TV show too.
That's no.
They gave us Two-Face, but didn't call him Two-Face.
in this show.
Yeah.
When?
What? How?
When did you? When?
Season 1, when the security guard.
Yeah.
And he had the guy that had his face
Oh.
was all.
Yeah.
It was Two-Face.
That's I'm not. But he wasn't a main character. Like I'm reading this and it's like I'm very much getting the feeling like, okay, so Turner is working alongside with the district attorney Harvey Dent, and they're trying to find out who murdered Bruce. Like that's what this is telling me.
That means he's not Two-Face.
That means he's not Two-Face at all. Like this, like how? What?
No,
for
no.
what?
I'm saying yet because it's valid because he eventually becomes Two-Face. We've seen pictures.
right, but what he is saying though is that he should have already been Two-Face.
He should have
because
already
Batman
been
fights
Two-Face.
That's why I said he's not Two-Face yet. That's the problem. Right.
That's what I meant when I said you're immediately robbing this audience of everything that they want to see. Okay,
Absolutely.
he's not Two-Face yet, and Batman is dead. So why?
Now let's just
There
say.
you go. Oh, and it's on the CW.
While we're on the subject,
Good.
of course.
Fantastic.
Um,
Makes it even better.
Can I just say what would we have gotten if, even if Schumacher did it, if Billy D did go forward and play Harvey Dent? Do we think we would have gotten a better thing than what we got with Tommy Lee Jones?
I think he would have been better than Tommy Lee Jones.
But do you think he could have played that type of character? That would have been a very big stretch
For
For
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah. Do you
If
think that would have re-jump started his career when he did that?
I think Billy
do
D.
you
I
think
think
they
I
would
think
build
Billy
it?
D. I think Billy D. would have played the character Two-Face Harvey Dent more methodically than crazy.
Yeah.
I could see him doing that. It would be a different spin on
Oh, yeah.
Harvey Dent, and I think it would have been cool to see. It never happened.
No.
But do I think?
How would you compare Tommy Lee Jones versus Aaron Eckhart?
Well, I mean, they're very different movies and they're very different feels what they were going for. That's harder to compare.
I think Billy D. would have been more on Aaron Arcade. Like, yeah.
Eckhart, right?
Yeah, I think it would have been more like that.
It would have been
yes.
more
If
like
you're
that.
Comparing the two,
Tommy Lee Jones was way over the top. Way too much.
Well, because he was trying to compete with Jim Carrey, who he hated. Have you heard like the story that Jim Carrey shares about it? Like they were at a place and he's like, oh, good to see you. Give me a hug, and he basically says, I hate you completely. Like Tommy Lee Jones just said, like not in any type of like, jokey way or please leave me alone. He was just like, I freaking hate you.
I wonder why.
Jeez.
Like, because he just didn't like Jim Carrey's overacting. He thought he was a joke. He thought he does not belong in film. But then Tommy Lee Jones is doing Batman Forever from after everything else he's done. I mean, I can understand Men in Black. He's played a straight character, a straight type character, saying ridiculous lines at points. But
Listen here, Slick.
Sport, Tiger.
Don't ever call me Sport, Tiger, Slick. Okay, Slick. Hold on. Come here, Junior.
yeah. Well, that was Thanos though. Still. Anyway.
Anywho.
Yeah, I that was always my question is like, what would have happened to Billy D if he kept on going with it? That would have been really interesting to see, And then the question again, it's like, what if the Riddler showed up and it was actually Robin Williams, blah, blah, blah. But I really I think Billy D was the saddest setup because his character was built in the first Batman back in '89, and then just totally dropped. Like he didn't come back in Returns at all.
They reference him in Returns.
They do very briefly.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they drop the name, like, just to be like, yeah, he's coming at some point, but not here.
I still don't understand that title.
I know. Where'd he go?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well,
Batman
Bruce Wayne
continues.
moved. Bruce Wayne moved his house,
Yeah.
but I don't
know. And to your whole thing, no, I don't. I think Billy D would have been a better Harvey Dent than Tommy Lee Jones. I can't. I cannot take him
it's
seriously as that character. I just couldn't. It's not nothing.
You're not supposed to.
I'm with you.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking, like, I really feel like that would have been a huge, like, it would either killed his career or boosted it. But the reality is we haven't seen him in anything else. So it would have boosted his career, I think. Billy D.
True.
Because he was already non-existent.
I agree.
So,
True.
I mean, the last thing I remember seeing him in, which was like maybe just after that, was The Ladies' Man.
Oh wow.
Remember he was in The Ladies' Man?
Yeah.
And he was basically just Billy D.
Yeah. He was basically Billy D. Yeah.
Or what was he Billy D? Was he actually playing Billy D?
He was something.
I feel like he was just playing himself, and he was just like, "Hey man,
I'm
check it
Billy
out,
D.
I'm Billy D."
He was something, all right. He was something. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, see, the problem with that movie is like the SNL had a lot of good movies that came out, but Superstar and what am I talking about? I just said it. The Ladies' Man were like the two of those that came out around the same time that just didn't land.
Superstar. There's one line from that movie that like stuck for the longest time.
I don't remember it.
When I get nervous, I stick my hands in my armpits. Like,
Oh, that was just not from
Yeah.
the movie. That was from the character. But like It's Pat, Superstar, Ladies' Man, Wayne's World made it. Wayne's World, those are fantastic movies. Coneheads, also hilarious.
Yeah.
Coneheads is really funny. If you rewatch that and catch some of the jokes in there, they are hilarious.
anywho, I don't know about you. I'm getting tired.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was behind the car, so I'm
Yeah. Agreed.
Long.
Well, anyway, I'm looking so forward to. I'm looking forward to the next episode. However, I don't know if I can make it.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
we'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Anywho.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right, everyone. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for listening. And
We're done.
Have a great night.
Peace. Hey everybody, Lee from Black and White Reviews here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in, checking out our conversation. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more about this specific subject or other things, check us out on our podcasting sites, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Podcasts. We're up on pretty much all of them. So yeah, thanks again for popping by, and yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.